Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool Classic Kids Show. Today we're talking about Final Fantasy 16 because it's been an interesting release thus far, and I've been playing the game, and there's some things that I love about the game, some things I'm like kind of questionable on. Still going through it. I've got like over 25 hours in thus far, and yeah, I can't wait to get further in the game and have more to discuss overall. Definitely going to be talking about it on the Two Real Feels podcast this upcoming Thursday. But man, I've been wondering how is this game going to sell, particularly more so honestly in Japan because Final Fantasy 16 admittedly seems to be doing a lot to appeal to the West. Now, in a lot of situations it's terrible when companies do this, particularly when Japan does this. I think that um in some ways Final Fantasy 16 appeals to the West in ways that I think are particularly cool. But there's some things that made me question, I have to wonder how, Japanese players are going to feel about this. Particularly the one thing that stands out the most is the fact that apparently the lip sync is for the English dub as opposed to the Japanese voice acting, which kind of shows that, yeah, you're kind of appealing definitely more towards, English speakers in that sense. So on that, I'm like, I wonder how the Japanese gamers will indeed respond to this. So we actually do have an update on Final Fantasy 16 sales in Japan. It's pretty crazy. I'm actually shocked. It's why I actually was inspired to make this video. But Final Fantasy 16's retail launch in Japan was the best ever for a PS5 game. Final Fantasy 16 is shattering records over in Japan. I'm actually shocked. I had very tempered expectations, so the fact that this is a thing is kind of crazy. Shortly before release, rumors circulated about Square Enix potentially being worried about Final Fantasy 16's pre-order numbers, concerned that they didn't match or exceed the pre-order numbers of its predecessor, Final Fantasy 16. And yeah, I will say this: its predecessor, Final Fantasy 15. I will say this, 15, man, they really suckered a lot of people into buying 15, particularly me. I'm one of those suckers that was fooled into buying 15, thinking it was going to be the next best thing since sliced bread, and visually it was a beautiful game, but man, that game at launch was fucked up in terms of just lacking a coherent story. It went on to become a good game, after all the DLC and after you go look for this and that. But they fooled a lot of people into buying Final Fantasy 15 day one. Holy crap, the sales for that game are insane. But they continue on. It seems like it's had no need to panic though, as not only has Final Fantasy 16 managed to sell over 3 million copies, but it's also completely shattering the record for the best retail launch of a PS5 game in Japan. And it's not even, everything else is not even close. They say, according to the numbers collected by Japanese outlet Famitsu, Final Fantasy 16 has sold 336,000 physical copies since launch, completely blowing the previous record holder out of the water. Before the launch of Final Fantasy 16, it was Elden Ring that was set in second place with 90,000 copies, with the Resident Evil 4 remake in third place with a slightly lower total of 89,000 copies. Put that into perspective, Final Fantasy 16 has sold almost quadruple the amount of physical copies of its closest competitor. I wasn't expecting this at all. Apparently, hey man, Japanese gamers are hyped and playing and enjoying Final Fantasy 16. At least I hope they are enjoying Final Fantasy 16 because a lot of them have bought this game thus far. And they say not only that, but these numbers don't take into account digital sales either. That's all just physical copies, which is, given the situation, physical media, I would think that, digital media, them numbers are big, right? And to be honest, we actually need to do a video on physical media. I kind of went into a rant on my live stream the other day, but I feel as though that rant deserves its own video, but I digress. They say, which suggests Final Fantasy 16 is most likely the best-selling PS5 game of all time in Japan, something which Square Enix will surely deem a huge success. There's no telling right now how close it is to matching Final Fantasy 16's launch window. I mean, I keep saying 16. Final Fantasy 15's launch window, excuse me, especially since Final Fantasy 16 is a PlayStation exclusive when the previous game wasn't. But smashing a record set by Elden Ring is a pretty good sign your game has succeeded. And look, man, it can't be ignored that Elden Ring was and is a huge success. It was a massive phenomenon release, man. And the fact that it's quadrupled those numbers almost is damn. And just looking at these numbers, shout out to Genkai here. Final Fantasy 16 has the biggest retail launch ever for the PS5 game in Japan, and this is obviously like they said, is physical copies at 336,000, and then everything else. Elden Ring 90K, RE4 89K, GT 773K, Hogwarts Legacy 67K. Wow, I'm surprised Crisis Core is so high on this list. I mean, excuse me. I mean, I guess I'm not that surprised. I mean, it is Final Fantasy, but it is a remaster, and even a remaster has creamed some of these other games. Wow. You may be sat there thinking that 336,000 physical copies in a week isn't that impressive in the grand scheme of things, but the games industry in Japan is a little different to how it is in the West. Nintendo is very much the dominant force in the country. This is facts, leaving both PlayStation and Xbox struggling to gain a foothold. PlayStation has made more meaningful strides forward in the regard as of late, proven by Final Fantasy 16's impressive numbers. And I will say, yes, Nintendo has been totally destroying PlayStation and Xbox. Like, PlayStation in Japan has been kind of dwindling over the years. I mean, I don't know to what extent, but you could tell that, yeah, it's not even close to Nintendo's numbers anymore. In other Final Fantasy 16 news, all right, yeah, they get into all this other stuff, but hey, man, I was curious as to how well Final Fantasy 16 would do in Japan, and yeah, it's destroying every other PS5 game that's released there thus far. So it's cool to see. I hope that everyone is indeed enjoying the game and having fun, because I mean, it is a big release. And personally, I think it is a good game. It's an interesting game. They need to update this game and make it run better, okay? That's like a must. Like, where are the updates, man? Don't make me. Nah, I'm not gonna go there. But look, it's interesting to see this game sell so well. It is cool. It's cool. 3 million is no slouch indeed. I feel as though Square Enix, no matter what, they're just gonna be upset. They're always crying about numbers. Everything that they get, they're never happy. And I guess that's, a way to be when it comes to business, right? You're never happy, but they're literally never happy or even content, it feels like, ever. So that's the thing. But hey, man, Japan, they're loving the game. They're buying the game. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this. It took me by surprise. Let me know if you're surprised by these numbers. And if you can, guys, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, or Kick. Please follow me on Kick if you'd like to continue the conversation. And guys, what I'll be said, I'm out. Peace.